Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed chapter 13. I know it was a little intense, but I wanted to start out by focusing and reflecting on our purpose for reading today, which was how does Byron show love to his siblings? And so I was really impressed with how Byron showed courage when he went into the whirlpool and went into Collier's Landing to save Kenny. Number one, he showed courage by doing something very brave. But number two, I appreciated that he shared his feelings with Kenny after he knew Kenny was going to be safe, and he was hugging him and kissing the top of his head. And he was just so glad that Kenny was alive and was okay. And I really admired that, because I think it takes a lot of courage to share your feelings with someone else and to tell them how you feel about them, especially when you're, an older sibling and you're trying to be tough and take care of your younger sibling. So I was really impressed, because Byron really hasn't shown that level of care to Kenny throughout the book, and I thought it was really, really amazing that he was able to show that love to Kenny in a nice way, instead of how he normally shows he cares about Kenny, which is through teasing and making fun of him. So now that we have talked about our purpose for reading, and we kind of recognize some of the things Byron did, let's start with our comprehension questions. So we have here 4 choices, and remember, you only need to choose 2 to answer. So let's start with question number 1. What is the wool poo that the children are warned about? So hint, it is not really the evil twin brother of Winnie the Pooh. That was a story that Byron made up. What actually is the wool poo? I would go back to the beginning of the chapter when they're talking to Grandma Sands, and I would also think about when they actually get to Collier's Landing, in the discussion that Kenny and Byron have together, and then also, kind of the big conflict in the book in this chapter has to do with what the wool poo actually is. So for this question, you're answering what is the wool poo, really? All right, the next question number 2. Why do you think that Kenny chose to go to Collier's Landing even though he was warned about the danger? So what we know about Kenny, he usually is very responsible. He follows the rules. He's, through his thinking in the book, we've learned how he, doesn't really appreciate the way that Byron acts towards other people, how he's been disrespectful and gets himself into situations that his parents wouldn't approve of. So Kenny is usually very responsible. So here you're making an inference. You're taking what we know about Kenny and what we know about their situation being in Birmingham, and you're making an inference. Why do you think that even though Kenny knew it was dangerous, he did it anyways? So that's my hint for question number 2. Question number 3 says, why do you think Byron went back to check on Kenny? So again, this is another inference that you will be making if you choose to answer question 3. Why did Byron go back to check on him after he told him, you're on your own, I'm going with Joey, I'm going to follow the directions? Why do you think Byron went back to check on Kenny? Use what you know from the end of the chapter, what I just talked about, our focus question, our purpose for reading, and what we learned about how Byron shows care for his siblings, and that will help you answer question number 3. And the last question is number 4. Now that Byron has shown Kenny how much he loves him by saving his life and then crying over him, do you think it will change the way they treat each other? Why or why not? So this is a prediction. You're going to make a prediction based on what you know about Kenny and based on what you know about Byron. Byron shows Kenny that he actually really loves him. He saves his life. He kisses his head. He cries. He's just so glad that he's alive. He comes back to check on him even when he doesn't have to. So do you think that's going to change the way they treat each other? Are they still going to, tease each other? Are they still going to be mean to each other, or do you think they're actually going to treat each other with kindness? Do you think it'll change at all? So this is a prediction. It's also kind of your opinion. So whatever you think, you will share that with us. So go ahead and choose the 2 questions you would like to answer and write them in the space below. And then when you have finished with that, you can resume the video for your next activity. All right, so here are your options today. Option number 1, in just a few sentences, pretend that you are Kenny and summarize what happened in chapter 13. Focus on the main parts of the chapter using first, next, then, last to answer the question. That's option number 1. And then option number 2 is to process or think about your feelings. What did this chapter make you feel? I want you to write or draw your reaction in the space below. So you have 2 choices today. You can do the journal entry, or you can do the thinking and drawing about your feelings. Go ahead and decide which one you would prefer to do. And then when you're finished, go ahead and resume the video, and then I will tell you about your exit ticket. All right, if you are finished with your activity, that means you are ready for your exit ticket. So here's the question. It's actually not a question from the book. It's more of your own opinion. So you would start answering this question with the sentence frame, in my opinion, I believe, So here's the question. In your opinion, is showing love to someone a way of acting with courage? Why or why not? So Byron, at the end of the chapter, for example, shows outwardly that he loves Kenny, and he, makes a really big deal about that. So do you think that it takes courage to show someone you love them? And courage, again, bravery. Do you think it's brave to show someone you love them? Or do you think, no, it's not, it doesn't really take that much courage. It's not a brave thing to do. So I want you to answer yes or no, and then I want you to explain your thinking. Why do you believe that? And you can do this in Google Classroom, or you can do it here on your exit ticket. It's up to you. Thanks so much for joining me for Chapter 13, and I will see you for Chapter 14. Have a great day.